Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Club. I'm your host, Aaron Hancock, and here we are again after the long weekend, looking at the market and looking at the NASDAQ 100 here on the 1 minute. We just had the 9:30 in New York time. So we're kind of looking at see how the market reacts this time. There's a lot of little open spots down here inside this recent range. And let me just get my Breakfast Club opened up here. If anybody wants to pop in, that's good too. So looking for a drive down into this little pool of imbalance down here. There's also another little balance, slight piece of fair value gap that's still open down here. We'll look at that, see how that's going. We're starting to dip into this here now. This is just a bot that I created on the side here. That's what you're looking at. Dip nicely into that little pool there. Now we're just looking for a return back up into this wick here. These equal highs, relative equal highs. Or we might play off of, this order block's been worked pretty hard already. So if we do get into half of it, which is pretty much there, we could see a further push down to this low here. These equal lows down here and here. Look at half this wick here. Small little range we've got here now. Kind of just wait and see what we see for the opening or for the 10 o'clock. See if we get a push up above this whole high, the hourly. We've already run these lows out down here. We've hit the bottom of the daily imbalance perfectly, or the daily fair value gap. That's what you see in blue over here. It's come all the way down to there already. We've come back up inside halfway into this fair value gap, this wick, and we're just playing. There seems to be quite a lot of resistance going on in here right now. So we'll see if this continues to want to start pushing through this now and create a new low. Break out of that fair value gap on the daily. That's where that's sitting right now. We have a lot of liquidity down here below into the other daily fair value gap. If you look over here, that's the fair value gap on the daily. We're inside that now. We've come down, hit the edge of it. So the question is now whether or not it stays inside this fair value gap and continues to work this half, which it's been doing quite well, and then we start to work the other half of the fair value gap, or do we just drop it and start coming back into this range that was created here for the beginning of the week and back into that fair value gap there. So usually the day after a long weekend, we don't really or shouldn't really participate, as everybody likes to pile in on these days. So kind of leave a day as a buffer and start looking at something more along the lines of Wednesday and see if we see anything in there. I personally think that we're probably going to stay inside here and then start working up in the top part of that fair value gap. There's a lot of price imbalance still sitting up here on the daily in the NASDAQ. So let's go back to the 4 hour, see what we're seeing here. Work our way down. There's a little imbalance up here still. That's the edge of the fair value gap on the daily we just talked about. So if this order block here is holding price, which it seems to be holding it quite nicely inside the fair value gap, now we're going to look for further push up. So let's go back to the 1 minute and you'll see we're working on the upside. So this is just an observation day really today, unless I see something really nice. You see a lot of this back and forth action starts getting high resistance. I like to see something like this, nice smooth even runs to areas, to pools of liquidity. And we're still at 7:39 Canada time. Fear the alpha wolf. This was all designed around the silver bullet, the werewolf, the alpha wolf. This bot's designed to come in and take out a silver bullet or live trade. Has a multitude of different things it can do. Oh, here we go. We just cleaned out the liquidity on top. Just ran that. Nice little price imbalance down in here. Let's mark out some of these liquidity pools. There was a nice dip into that one there. Now I've run back up and cleaned out the highs. 0 and 8, 5 minute or highest body up close candle right here. These three together make this would be a 15-minute breaker. We've come back up into the breaker here. Breakers are really good for resistance. So we can get some resistance off of that, and then we'll start heading back down to an order block that hopefully gives us a bit of support. So this one here is a nice little breaker. Last up close candle before run below an old low. We ran down here, so this becomes a breaker. This could be a place where we get some support inside here. So let's just kind of look at this spot from here to here. I'll make that a little dollar so we're not getting see where the bodies end up. There's this little fair value gap in here as well. Get some support off of that, start running back up again. So that breaker not holding price inside the fair value gap, I give it all the way down into here. If I get a body through here, then you start thinking about it running down even further. So that fair value gap is holding price. I'll continue to look for running above here and here. Interesting how it opens up right on top of the breaker. Creates a little small, little tiny price imbalance. Wicks do a lot of damage, but I like looking in for these little fair value gaps. Once we break through them with a body, we come back into them again, and we start breaking above, we come back into them. They usually give us some support, like at the high, the middle, or the low. And you can see right here is the middle or midpoint of that fair value gap right there. That's where we seem to have found some support. And we ran up above these old highs here again. So does this provide support some more now that we've run the highs? These equal highs here, we ran that out. Now do we look for more liquidity? Usually when you create a big range like that, we want to start looking for a discount portion. So if you take the discount portion, we're looking for 50% of that range. There's 50%. Now we're in the discount side of it, of this small range that was created this morning. If we go all the way back to the low that was created in London, we just hit the 50% mark now of the range that was created between London and New York's open. So far, we've come into a discount right on 50%. I like this little pool down in here one more time to finish this off. If we come back and clean that last little piece up right in here, that's the last low. A lot of chop going on inside here. I'm just trying to show you guys the levels, each PD ray. I try to find a practice off of each PD ray. So now we've come back up. See how we've hit the edge of the breaker here? Oh, now we're driving right through it. So this becomes last up close candle that does not break below an old low. That becomes mitigation. Mitigation blocks are not that strong. So they just came back into 50% of that range. Just over 50%, tapped over it. Good enough. Now pushing up for higher prices. We know that on our daily objective, we're looking for a higher run for the day. We're looking for the fill of the fair value gap on the daily as probably the outside objective up in here. That's where we're kind of looking for the day. So our bias is bullish for the day. Hourly, equal highs, small little imbalance in here. A SIBI, sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency, as Michael would say. And I'm glad to hear Michael's son is on the move, on the repair after his accident. God is on your side, my friend. So I'm glad your family are doing well. Let's go down to 15 minutes. See what we see here. Oh, nice little pocket up here at 15 minutes. Equal highs. Let's go to 5 minutes. Lots of candy land up here now. We got lots of pools of liquidity there. 1 minute. Let's see if I can get my robot working here. No, there's nothing. We got another 12 minutes before we can start to see if we can get some action. Let me take this guy off of here now. This is either a 4-hour or 1-hour fair value gap. Now that we've broken above it, I like this little pocket here. Get some support off of this. Order block. Inside the 4-hour. Do we get support anywhere inside here? High resistance, see? Does not provide support at all. Or was that the breaker? Sorry, no, that was a breaker. Once again, got eaten through, blown through, so I wouldn't give this guy much validity anymore anyway, because he's been chewed up. Spit out. So we have this order block here, down to the midpoint. That's your threshold. See, really you're between here and here. Overlapping order blocks. So nothing you can do in here is just watch this chop go back and forth. So it either has to expand, it'll bounce around inside here, or it has to expand and start pushing through to higher or lower PD arrays. Keep in mind we still have this little piece down in here. That lowest body candle is the breaker for that huge run up. The parent breaker. Here it's just a mitigation block when you looked at it returning to here. But it's the parent breaker of that whole range above these old highs here. So we're just bouncing around inside that breaker over there. A lot of chop here. I'm going to turn off all my buys and sells here. Let's get it on. For all my MMA fans, that's why I say hit the button. We are live. First, introducing all right. Buys and sells. All on. I like to see it get all the way back down into here. That's just our upside objective for the day. This is why we don't play or muck around in the markets the day after the long weekend. Holidays, the day after, stay out, wait for it to settle itself, then decide which direction you want to go in, how you want to start working your market. There's a lot of people running in, buying and selling right now. There may be people that can trade this. I'm trying to just show you the different PD arrays that I'm looking at, and it's just ripping through some, then it stays on course, hits back and forth, then it rips through some. So it's, as you can see, this is high resistance here. This is kind of bouncing up and down all over the place. So trying to read it on the 1 minute as it runs from one PD array to the next. So it's a bit of a challenge. So we're into this PD array here and this one here. So we ran up, we got inside the PD, that order block there, and now we're down into this order block here. There's your line. So we broke above this guy. So now we're just, see how this is kind of compressing. So we have this order block here now, and that order block there. We didn't break above it, so we're into this guy and this guy. So we've come down. We broke this candle here, validates this one. So this one comes up, breaks above here, validates this as an order block. We then push all the way back up through this guy. We're still inside him though. Come all the way back down inside this guy. So now we're back between that guy and that guy. So until we get above, below this one or above this one, we're between these two. That's where our PD arrays are bouncing off of right now. If you're looking at it from a basic order block status, wicks, I won't be talking about the wicks so much right now, just the basic order block theory. Between that order block and that order block is where we're kind of bouncing around. So we're going to see this small compression, and then it has to break out, has to run down. It's just running out of these little order blocks and PD arrays to bounce off of. So we've really got this half, or the edge of that guy there. So we got the open of him, which we just hit. Now we got the threshold. That one's been hit. So now we react off the threshold. And we start to come all the way back up again. And we're looking at getting, we're below this guy. So this is the guy we're looking at. So we've already worked all the way through him. So again, are we going to start to push up above it, higher now? Because we've already worked this candle. We went through the wick. We hit the body. We hit through the threshold. We hit the rejection block. We hit halfway through the wick. We didn't clean out the wick. So now we've come back up into the edge of the wick one more time. Now we're eating through this guy. We're into this wick. Good. Now we're extending. So to say you run out of PD arrays, you've come back up inside this guy one more time right here, and now you eat all the way through this guy. So we're still looking for this guy down here. Create a little fair value gap. I'm going to get that off of there now, because that keeps giving me an idea that it's a gap. There's no real gaps inside here that I can play off of. So we've eaten through that PD array now. So now we're back inside this big joint right here. That guy and that guy is the big range. So now we've compressed. Now we're breaking out below this low. We're looking about trying to get below the rejection blocks here. So keep your eye on this spot here. Now we've gone below this guy right here. We've validated this as an order block. We come back, the body breaks below it. We come back into the wick. Now we've got this rejection block, the lows. Then the halfway point of this wick here, which is 133. Somewhere around here. So there's your rejection blocks hit. Lots of little equal lows now. We have a small little fair value gap up here, a SIBI, and a SIBI here. So look at the range that it starts to create. So we've got this little swing point. I like to look at these little swing points and say, all right, if this was a turning point right here, pull your fib, look for 50% to 62%. Does it line up with these key areas right here? Now we've run these lows out. Look for this price imbalance here. SIBI here, SIBI here. And we'll come out for 757. So if we get down into here for 10 o'clock, push for this low here, or maybe take out these lows, and then we get a fair value gap on the upside after 10 o'clock, then the upside objective for the daily would be my ultimate goal. So maybe I'll just take that on, we'll put that on a demo account instead of this one, which is not a demo account. All right, so now we're running into that area we talked about. Let's get into a demo account. NASDAQ. Where's my NASDAQ? Let's throw the NASDAQ in here. The tech. One minute. Oh, I got one trade still on there from British pound this morning. I got a buy in British pound. It's working out nicely. Let's look for NASDAQ. This is where we're sitting. Okay, so we did not hit quite our objective just yet. So we're looking at, it's now 8 o'clock. So we're looking at 10 o'clock now. Equal lows. They gotta get rid of those. I'm just gonna close this one out. Get rid of that. We're gonna watch this guy right here. Run this little low. Create a new fair value gap on the upside. So we're looking for a buy side, a BISI to form. Okay, so we ran this low. I'm gonna take this from here to here. That's what's left of that fair value gap. And if we don't get it, that's fine. We're still in the threshold of that order block, which is the breaker, the parent breaker. So we've come back into the breaker right here. Last down close candle before run above old highs. Does it hold it, or does it quickly shoot down, grab this pool of liquidity, and then start to run up? It finally cleaned out that. Oh, it did get that one there the last time we called it to come down. Not even at the rejection block yet. Midpoint. This one hit the midpoint of that fair value gap there. We've got a nice reaction off of that. This right here is the 3 candle. Looks like the 3 candle order block, but this body here technically is lower than these. Here we go. So now we have a break below this candle here. That's a wick. That's activated. This is an order block. And the only other downside candle we've got is this guy right here. So we're really between here, this rejection block down here, these old lows, this order block, fair value gap. So those are the PD arrays down below. We've got old high here. This guy right here is this threshold. Does the threshold hold? And you continue down, or we push all the way through that? So there's your threshold. It holds so far. Now we're looking for a run below these lows. We're into the wick idea now. And if you haven't learned about wicks, study Michael's material. He's got excellent teachings on wicks. So that's the threshold holding nicely. Now we're pushing down into our objective. Breaking the lows. There you go. Boom. Exactly what we're talking about. Okay, good. So now we've hit this. We finally come into that. I'd like to see it just clean it up. Come back in and fully clean it up. So now we're looking at body below. I like bodies when the bodies get below. So body comes back up. We're looking at 1, 2, 3 PD arrays inside that order block. We're also looking at this wick here, halfway point of that wick. And there is a slight imbalance up there. So 73, 35. Somewhere around here will be the midpoint of that. There's a tiny little imbalance there. Okay, so we've gone through 1, 2, 3. There you go. So we've hit our objective here. Now, we've broken this candle's high. Equal highs here. This could be the little fair value gap we're looking for to now take runs above the old highs. Worked out exactly the way we wanted it to do. To come all the way back into our little area we've been calling for a while now. Came in nicely. So you could technically take if that was my objective, to take a run, which I didn't, because we just want to observe today. Here's our, we want this to stay open now. We want to push up, get a bit body in here above this mess, create a fair value gap, and then we want to load up on that inside there. So we'll do, there you go. So there's your, if this stays open now, I like that fair value gap to stay open. We just want it to come back into the top of this order block here, and we're going to get long on that right there. Perfect. It's 8:07, 31 seconds. We're halfway through the minute. So your stop loss is going to go down below the swing here. There we go. All right, so as soon as it comes back into our fair value gap, which we have been calling for, we're going to take it for a long. Let's put the wolf in here. There we go. We're live. The wolf is in. Didn't quite grab it. That's because of the spread. There, now it's in. Oh, it took me out there. These are buys. Why did that take me out there? That's where it got me in. That's the silver bullet that the bot was supposed to take. You guys got to witness. It screwed up. Something went on there. Oh, it's because I did the get it on, get it off. I know I did it wrong. Let's put a time on here. Okay. So now we're looking for the next one. So basically what you're looking for with these silver bullet entries, my bot lined up the silver bullet nicely, took it. For some reason, I got to work on that button. Took a nice entry, would have had 1, 2, maybe the third. I didn't take the third, so would have taken at least 1, 2 entries. So we'll see what happens on this next one. We're still, our upside objective is still high, so we're going to leave the buy side on as our objectives for the day. And this will take any other additional silver bullet entry. Well, that's exactly what we called. We asked for it to come down here, and I said, let's look for a silver or a fair value gap to open up. It did. We returned into it nicely. Midpoint. If you would take the high, the midpoint, and the low as your 3 entries, if you like 3 entries or just 1, you scale them all to a maximum of 1%, no more than 2% of your account, those 3 combined, or you just do 1 if you want. Sometimes you don't get all 3, as in this case. You may have only got 1. That's why I like to put 3 entries in there, because I like to make sure I get at least one piece on. I have a wildcard entry as well, which I'm not going to get into discussing, but that would be my entry. I would have had 1, 2, 3 entries had this thing worked the way it's supposed to. I'm trying out my new button, my get it on button, to set my times. So anyway, this we're looking for a run above this old high here now. I have no new fair value gaps forming after 10 candles or so. These will close out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good thing it's our demo. A lot of chop in here, but that was a beautiful opening for our silver bullet. Now, just so you know, our silver bullet is usually meant to take 5 handles. When you're starting out, you take 5 handles out of that. So had this one, we'll say right here, the edge, had that one gone, we were looking at 59. There's 20 handles there. Would have been beautiful. Would have been a nice little run. If you want your 5, you get out at 5. We're still looking to get all the way back up into here. So if this comes down one more time and dips into our run, hopefully, let's see what's going on there. Okay, yeah, okay, that's good. Here we go. Run in one more time. So look at your order blocks again. We're back up to our order block theory. We broke above it. 2 candles. Create our 2-minute order block. We broke above it. We came back inside it. Also 1 minute. We have a fair value gap. We have a break above, a small little consolidation. You come back into it. Order block, we get above it, we come back into it. We're looking at the next order above, which is this guy here. We're working inside that one. Okay, we finally got another trade on. And will it close in? And I don't know why it keeps cutting me out there. Good. I just found a little glitch in my bot. Where is that going wrong? I have to look that up. Let's turn this off. Remove. We'll see if this one takes this without the bot involved. This is a higher resistance. This is why you don't play in the markets too much after the long weekend. We wait. Order block. We're now below it. We come back into it. We work all the way down to order block right here. Now we're back into it. Filling that fair value gap. Are we extending and pushing through now? We had one more opportunity to get your bot loaded on, or your orders. 1, 2, 3 orders. Daily objective is still up on the top. Now, what I want to see here. What I want to see here now is I want to see break this high, create a fair value gap right here. We got a body above this fair value gap. If we come back in, tag the top, the middle, or the bottom inside this piece right here. I want you guys to kind of look right here. Like that. See how it just comes back in inside it? It's creating a new fair value gap right here if it stays open, and we start pushing up. Break that high. There you go. Just want to see if this thing is the bot screwing it up. There's the new fair value gap we're looking for. Price imbalance. Came back into it right here. Now I'd like to see it just accelerate up. Just start clearing these old highs out and start running up to our higher time frame objectives. It'd be nice if that just stayed open, never even came back there. Just took off now. It's got that price imbalance. Choppity chop today. One, 2, 3, 4 minute order block. Broke up. Come back down. Tag it nicely right here. Now pulling away. Breaking old highs. I want to see it really start to accelerate here now. This is my wild card entry. Didn't work. It's supposed to. I'd be in that. If I don't get these, I get this. And for reasons I'm not going to tell you because it's my bot. a shame this wild card or the silver bullet entry this morning excuse me, would have been just bomber. Would have made a lot of money this morning. Again, we're not trading on a Tuesday or a Monday, Tuesday after a long weekend, so we're just watching it. This is just helping me figure out some bugs in my butt. This, look at that. Well, so far it's done everything we expected it to do this morning. Ran down to our objective. Clean these old highs out here now. Let's look at this range. When I was talking about ranges, look at this range here. Optimum trade entry. There's your little range, 62%, right on the money. Bodies, inside that. Now we're breaking out above. It's beautiful. Get out of there. So as soon as this one closes, we'll create another 4 entries here. And I've got, we're not going to risk. Why risk that? I want to see what's going on with this thing. I know what the problem is. Good. 1, 2, 3 entries. Not a good sign. It's going to come back and take my stop losses now. Finally worked. Problem was that button. Now I know where to look for my problem. They're all, oof, they're gone. It is my get it on button. Those closed out. I'm going to take that one off. Take some of my money back. We're going the opposite direction now. Let's put another one in there. that stop loss. Let's look at this. I'm going to remove that. It's not really working right now. This cluster should be working, but it's not. That would have taken out some money, scaled me out there. So I'm looking for that to at least come down into this fair value gap here. To touch that. I'm going to clear out all these orders. Because our objective is the upside on the daily. We want to say that that was our objective for the day. So we're still not there yet. Take out yesterday's high. Then that little price imbalance way up there is probably the objective for the week if we don't start to come back into this area right here. Let me blow this up a little bigger. So you're looking at this here. We're looking for this guy up here. You got a daily fair value gap down here. And we always make those blue. So we see them on the lower time frames. If we ever come close to them, you'll see that that's our objective we're aiming for the daily. Weekly, we need to take out that old high from last week. We'd still be inside this breaker right here. Last up, so close candle before run below an old low. We're inside that right now. Midpoint is right there. Midpoint kind of lines up with the top bottom of our daily price imbalance. Also the old weekly high. So that would be the upside objective for the rest of the week if we don't come back down into that daily. So still looking for up. Looks more bullish for me. This might have been the August seasonal tendency for the low swing. Come back up, take these out here, and then come back down for the October, and then run up even further. How's that for a long-term objective swing? Call. Look at that. Came back inside that monthly fair value gap, hit it nicely, pulling away. Last up close candle. We can get inside that body, wick, or even take these old highs out before the end of the year. That would be the year-end objective. At least. What are we looking for here? Yeah. That's basically what I'm looking for the year. That's the next upside objectives right here. I always put those in red. Even though I'm colorblind, I know that's red because I've made it a bunch of times and my friends have all said it's red and it says red, so that's the next upside objective other than the rejection block on the monthly. You get the wick halfway through the wick, you know, the whole wick tendencies, but if I was looking for a long-term objective for my yearly objectives, I'm aiming for here, here, and these old highs up here for the yearly to end. Let's get back down to our 1 hour. Take off all my trades here. Choppity chop. So this was a good example of what not to do in the day after a long weekend. Stay out of the markets. Even though we called it down here. We called for a run above these old highs. We got that. It was a relatively clean run. And we go back into chop again. So we've broken above these two candles here. So you're looking at, once again, your PD arrays. One, you take both of them together at first, which is that one there. And then they open. You want that to stay open, or at least a portion of it. If it comes all the way back down, tag this lowest down close candle's high, open, threshold. Those are your three areas there. If you're combining the two, it's high. Midpoint between these two bodies is your downside. So there's your first one. Now do we react off that and run up? And then you look for your last down close candle or up close candle that we have run below. So that would be that guy right there. So we're really between here and here for a PD array, quick PD arrays to run for. If you look for your low from there to there, look where your 62%, 70% inside your optimum trade entry, anywhere from 61 to 79. Or 62 to 79. Now let's look at this objective from here to here. There's 50%. 62% puts us right in the middle of that fair value gap. And it also gets us close to this fair value gap. I love that these two are overlapping. So if you want to start driving up, I want to get above this right here. If we drive up and through this fair value gap with a body has to be a body of a candle, come back, find support. As long as we break the threshold here, then we're looking for further upside. But inside here right now is the potential for a long. Stop loss goes here. That said, let's argue the other side. We could have this drive all the way through here, come back down and revisit this area here, just because we're in Chopville. So we're coming back in. That's your one entry, two entries, 1, 2, 3 entries there. If you wanted to get on that to go long, looking for one, your first objective is the recent high, fair value gap. Look for entrance for scale out 1, 2, 3 for quick little nibbles. If you want to nibble some profit. But like I said, arguing the downside, if we lose this candle here, we lose the threshold of that candle, then we're looking to come back in and finish off this fair value gap right here. And then this order block comes into play. So we're below that guy. We come back up, find support at it, or are we going to go through it? Boom, there's your threshold gone. Good. So now we want to see it start really getting some legs now and start running up. And take your 5 if you're into 5. Five would be 82, 87. You would have been there. By the time you got back up here, there would have been your 5. Quick little 5 handles right there. Okay, now we're into high, open. Now we've closed that fair value gap off. I don't want to see a body. If you see a body get below that, then we're looking for a downside here. So just that run back into, if you had the third entry there, that quick little pullback from there. So as soon as you get to 86, there's 86, there's 5 more handles. All 3 of those had a 5 handle entry right there. Got to be quick. Come down into the fair value gap one more time. Wicks, wicking away, showing you some resistance here. Now come on, explode it up. Take it off. Go, go, go. So, objective. 1, boom. Take partial, partial. Midpoint, take another partial. Depends on how much you've got on here. If you've taken your 5, good for you. 5, 5, 5. If you would have taken, you had 3 5s as 15s there. And if you would have took that guy again, and that was our upside objective, you had a partial out there to there is 13. That's 14 handles. The midpoint right there is another one. So there's your 17 handles. Finish that off. Choppy day. 15.5. And leave a piece on to run 1, 2 more PD arrays, then 3, then 25, 50, 75, and up. It's not just order block to order block. You gotta look for your PD arrays, you gotta look for your fair value gaps, and you gotta look how inside each one of these fair value gaps is a multitude of PD arrays as well. So we broke above this guy here. We've come back into the body, the opening here. There's your threshold. This is the candle. So actually you're inside this guy. There's the threshold there. Does that hold? Or is this run out already? That's why you take partials off wherever you can. So there's your threshold. It's holding so far. Now we're looking for, we're above this guy. We've come back into the threshold of that guy. Now we're looking for this guy right here. And we're losing that. We're back in the rejection block. Back into the fair value gap one more time. If we get a body below there, we're looking for down here. We have this guy validated now. We've just wicked below him. Power of partials, I tell you. You had 5s you took out of there. If you left a piece on or you went for a long, our objective 1, 2, 3, 4. You would have got 3 more of your objectives there just on what we talked about in here. So we're coming back. The body, this is a wicks do the damage, as Michael says. Wicks do the damage. I like that fair value gap right there. We've come back into it. We're into the open of that candle. So we're between this guy and this guy. Small imbalance. Threshold. Eat through it. Rejection block. Finish off the fill of that fair value gap. Get a body above it, and we're going to continue up. So just keep your eye on this area right here. We want to see a body get above this. There we go. Support. And away you go. Jeez, I love it. Jeez, I'm almost calling out like Michael. Yeah, it's beautiful. That's exactly what we're looking for. Couldn't have asked for a better example to happen exactly as I call it. All right, so when you see that little fair value gap, we get a body that breaks above it. You come back, we retest the top of the fair value gap, and you push for new objectives. There's your rejection block. You're already into the halfway point already. Now let's run above. This is beautiful. That was an excellent example. Called it right as it's happening. And our daily objective was to go higher. Now, if you had the kahunas to take that earlier call we had down here and hold it for your daily objective through all this mess, it's a mess to hold it for sure. If you're watching it on the 1 minute, you're looking for all the PD arrays. Does it activate off of the PD arrays, come back to them nicely? Order block here. bashed around on it. Hit a perfect entry for our silver bullet entry. Cleared out an old high. Is our daily on here still? No, let me put my daily on here. This is the fair value gap on the daily. Right there. There to there. Now we go down to the 1 minute. What the heck? It doesn't. Minutes. Does it say it's on minutes? 1 minute. Why is it not happening there? Check that. It's on the hourly. It's on the 30 minute, it's on the 15, it's on the 5. For some reason, it's not turning up on the 1. Okay, well, still, our objective is, it's reaching for our daily objective. So hopefully you learned something here. This was a beautiful example of why I love fair value gaps, why I like to look at them for support, why you cut through candles. Like Michael says, you cut through the candles. It's a beautiful example of finding support. And it's continuing out to our objective for the day. So I'm going to end it right there. And hopefully you guys learned something here. And pop in, call your friends, tell your friends. Can't guarantee you're going to get great results like this all day or all the time, but it's always fun kind of trying to call each PD array as it's happening. It's a lot harder than just trying to pick one objective for the day. We did pick the objective. We did get our upside that we're looking for. We did ask for this return back into this area. We were calling for that through the whole run this morning. It came right back into it nicely. We even tried to get in this couple of silver bullets on my bot, which shows me I've got some glitches. They would have been quite nice. They would have paid off handsomely for today. And yeah, so I know I got some things to work on for my bot. So with that, I wish you guys a wonderful day, and we will see you again tomorrow.